Anyway, brutal words for her fellow liberals from Democratic strategist Julie Rajinsky. Let's hear what this is about.
I'm going to speak some hard truths to my friends in the Democratic Party. This is not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Kamala Harris's fault.
I mean, it is. It is on both accounts.
It's not Barack Obama's fault. It is the fault of the Democratic Party in not knowing how to communicate effectively to voters. We are not the party of common sense, which is what the message that voters sent to us for a number of reasons.
Oh, let me guess. Wait, hold on. Is she going to say it's because we're not common sense party because we're too pro-trans? That's what it is, right?
For a number of reasons, we don't know how to speak to voters. When we address Latino, and language has meaning. When we address Latino voters as Latinx.
No! Who's doing that? Like, are they doing that? I don't even know who's doing this. I've never done it, okay? I don't know who they are talking about. Why are they literally going, you know what? It's just the Democrats are too f***ing woke. Do these guys only watch the Ben Shapiro show? Are they the only people who watch Daily Wire? They all watch Bill Maher and the Daily Wire, and they're just like getting all their talking points from these charlatans. I think there was one time where Kamala Harris said pronouns she, her, hers. That's it. And they lasered in on it. A video from like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. What the who gives a shit, man? Who cares? First of all, I'm just imagining Joe Biden saying Latinx, and that's pretty funny. To all the Latinx out there, Jack, I'm sending your back over the border too. We have the most right-wing border bill. And all you Latinx folk, you're going to learn today. Wake the up. This is what the narrative war will look like. These are not honest comments. These are neoliberals crafting the narrative to maintain control. They cannot acknowledge this is a lack of class-focused universal policy goals. No, I am awake. What do you mean? I'm very much seeing that. That's why I'm spending a decent amount of time explaining exactly why the it's happening, saying exactly what you just said, and telling you that, like, this is idiotic. This is a cynical right-wing framing instead of accurately addressing the real problems that the Democratic Party has. They're just going, it's because we were too woke. It's because we were too woke. No, it's not.
Because that's the politically correct thing to do. It makes them think that we don't even live on the same planet as they do. When we are too afraid to say that, hey, college kids, if you're trashing a campus at Columbia University because you're unhappy about some sort of policy and you're taking over a university.
It's because the college campus students were too woke? Dude, I'm done. Dude, you need to be exiled, okay? You need to be humiliated every day for the rest of your life. You need to be tarred and feathered if you legitimately think that this is why the Democratic Party lost. It's the opposite, you idiot. They just kept sidestepping the Palestine question every single time. What are you talking about? We're talking about a country where 80% of the Democratic Party's base of support wants a ceasefire and knows that stopping weapons transfers is the only way to stop Benjamin Netanyahu from doing a genocide. 54% of Republicans agree with this, okay? 70% of independents. And this dipshit is like, we just weren't sufficiently pro-Israel. That's what the issue is. We should have killed those students. That's how we would have won the election. It's like, yeah, you're so evil. You're evil. You're an evil person, okay? You are an evil charlatan. You're not only incompetent, but you're malicious. And this is the only thing your parents are watching. Just remember that. The only thing your parents are watching is this kind of dumb, nonsensical bullshit that deflects the actual responsibility away and just looks at the problem and says, you know what it is? We just didn't do more of the thing that actually made people annoyed with us. This is terrifying. I really did not assume that they would be so quick to immediately go, no. What you don't understand is we weren't right-wing enough.
And you're trashing it and preventing other students from learning that is unacceptable. But we're so worried about alienating one or another cohort in our coalition that we don't know what to say when normal.
Yeah, we were worried about alienating the Palestinians. Oh my God! We were so worried about alienating the pro-Palestinian movement These people are speaking to zero constituencies. There is no constituency for this kind of sentiment. And they're actively trying to create one within the Democratic Party. The real constituency for this kind of sentiment is in the Republican Party. And what they're doing is going on CNN to actively get your parents to agree with this reactionary attitude. Okay.
Normal people look at that and say, wait a second, I send my kids to college so they can learn, not so that they can burn buildings and trash lawns, right? And so on and so forth. When we put pronouns after names and say she, her, as opposed to saying, you know what, if I call you by the wrong pronoun, call me out, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. But stop with the virtue signaling and just speak to people like they're normal. There's nothing I'm going to say to Shermichael that I'm not going to say to you, that I'm not going to say to somebody else. I speak the same language to everybody.
Stop with the virtue signaling. Stop with the woke mind virus. That's awesome. These guys are deeply unserious, dude. There's never a moment where you are supposed to talk about this. There's no reason to talk about this. It's not a real issue. Republicans desperately try to turn this into a real issue. And when you actually respond to it, you are a idiot, okay? And responding to it, even to defend it, is stupid. Just so you understand. I need you to understand it. Responding to it, even to defend it, is stupid. You're losing the argument. Responding to it and agreeing with it is not only stupid, but also cruel. And I know that this person is deliberately doing this because this is the exit ramp for these careerist pieces of shit in the Democratic Party. It's not our fault. It's the activists. We hired the activists. We listened to the activists too much. You're a asshole. You're a goddamn charlatan, and you lost the fascists again. And you're going to lose to them again and again and again. And in every single defeat, you are going to marginally creep towards their direction every single time, year over year. Shut the fuck up about this woke nonsense, okay? You dumb fuck. Shut the fuck up. This is not a real issue at all. People want more money in their pockets. People want health care. People want housing that is affordable and readily available. And you're over here being like, it's because the college campus students were protesting too hard. You lost Michigan, dumbass. Think about why. It's so stupid. It is so goddamn infuriating to see these demons every single day, just without a shred of doubt, without even just no self-reflection whatsoever. Just go on television, put on your fucking suit, and just go, you know, real centrism hasn't been tried. The problem is we're not close enough to the Republican Party. When Kamala Harris literally was like, I am Nikki Haley, okay? I am Nikki Slaley. Please vote for me. I am Nikki Haley. I love Liz Cheney. Please vote for me. And then the voters looked at that and were like, no, I'm not actually. I'm just going to sit at home. Fuck you. This is insane. Every single one of these dipshits need to be fired immediately. Every single one. Oh my God.
But that's not what Democrats do. We constantly try to parse out different ways of speaking to different cohorts because our focus groups or our polling shows that so-and-so appeals to such and such. That's not how normal people think. It's not common sense. And we need to start being the party of common.
Like masquerading right-wing sentiment as common sense, also another like very obvious strategy of the right, for the record.
Sense again. Joe Biden is not responsible for that. Neither is Kamala Harris. It is a problem that Democrats have had for years. I've been banging the drum on this for, I don't know how, probably 10 years, if not longer on this. We need to get back to being the party of common sense, that people look at us and say, we understand you. We appreciate what you say because you speak our language. And until we do that, we should stop blaming other people for our own mistakes.
This is from the Newsbusters, by the way. The managing editor of Newsbusters posted this. I wonder why. Yeah, if you look at people that are replying and agreeing with it, it's because Newsbusters is a right-wing outlet. What are you talking about? It's like this is a hatchet job. She was a Fox contributor on The Five. Democratic strategist, dude. Nice. I mean, these guys why are they in the Democratic Party? Like, what the fuck is going on? They're not Democrats. They're not even remotely woke. They're not liberal at all. They don't give a shit. How the fuck did the Trump era excise all the country club Republicans, and the Democrats were like, oh my God, this is amazing. Please come to my party, please. We will hire all of you. I despise these demons, dude. I despise them. Yeah, here's the outcome, by the way, of consistently tailoring your message around how Arab voters and Muslim voters and their family members need to be killed. Harris lost Michigan by 82,000 votes. 100,000 Michiganders voted uncommitted in the primary. I saw another take, okay? I need you to hear how insane this is.
And I think there was this very powerful ad, the Republican Jewish Coalition, that was all over the airwaves. A bunch of women sitting around, Jewish women, just saying, I can't stand him, but I felt like we were supporting Israel and we were stronger and we were tougher. And I think that resonates with people.
And then to your point, the ad that came out that was beating Kamala up around fear about Israel not being protected. There was never a response from the campaign on that, which I thought was a big mistake. Amanda Berman from Zioness had to raise money to run her own ad.
Yeah, dude, shut the up. You're such a bought and sold charlatan, Van Jones. Suck my dick, whatever her name is from Zioness. You went to that special interest group's party because you want to do this. This is why he's doing this, okay? His entire goal on this panel is to just like try and spear dick this obviously completely ridiculous narrative to be like, actually, Kamala Harris wasn't sufficiently pro-Israel. It's so really damaging for the campaign. And then the absolute idiots that watch this that work at the top of the Democratic Party are like, I guess that's true. Like, who are you fooling, dude? What are you doing? This is, for the record, part of the reason why people don't want to watch the news anymore. They don't want to watch your because when you are sitting and watching a CNN panel, and I love CNN, I watch CNN all the goddamn time. Okay, you know this. I have friends that work at CNN. I think CNN is fine overall. But like when I hear this, I'm like, come on. Who is this for, brother? What are you saying? Kamala Harris wasn't sufficiently pro-Israel? What are you saying? Oh, I'm sorry. She didn't say am Israel high on at the DNC platform. I guess that's why she wasn't sufficiently pro-Israel. Like who is this for, brother? Who is this for? I know who is for. I know what you're doing. Let me tell you who this is not for. American Jews who voted overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. 80% overwhelmingly. Okay. Because guess what? Turns out the Haaretz poll, or I think it was the Times of Israel poll that came out a couple months prior, was correct. Israel is not their top priority. Okay. You know why? Because they're American Jews, okay? They're not Jews in Israel. They are Jews in America. They're American citizens. I hate this woke dual loyalty narrative coming from these dumb. They don't live there. If they cared about Israel that much, they'd be living in Israel, okay? Crazy to me that they were just like, they let Trump claim that he was anti-war. Like I cannot begin to tell you how psychotic that is. One day, Democrats will understand, hopefully, that lesser evil voting and harm reduction narratives do not get off seats. And if they don't learn this, they're going to just do fascist light. Simone Sanders asked Donnie Deutsch what he means by the Democrats have to move to the center, which is good. I'm glad that Simone Sanders is asking this question because this is a question that should be asked of every single person that goes, no, you don't understand. We got to abandon some of these causes. They keep saying it, but what do they mean by that? Does that mean you have to be more racist? Does that mean you have to be transphobic? Because it's not like they were openly and outwardly pro-trans. They didn't prominently display pro-trans sentiment all over their campaign. That didn't happen. So what do they mean by that?
We're also fed up with very super progressive attitudes. I think the Democrats, Joe, going back to your initial question, and you may disagree with this, I think they need to move to the center. I think the
center. What does that mean, though? When you say they need to move to the center, what do they need? Are you saying that they should not support trans people? Like, let's just be specific because that's what the ads are doing.
That's on MSNBC, by the way. That's on MSNBC. He's saying we got to move to the center on MSNBC. It's supposed to be the Fox News of the left. It's wild to openly be able to say this without like any consideration to what just took place. Kamala Harris did this already and she got destroyed. And you got charlatans on the main stage going, no. The problem is real liberalism hasn't been tried yet. Real tacking to the center. Real moderation hasn't been tried yet. Kamala Harris's campaign in 2024 was objectively to the right of Joe Biden's successful campaign in 2020. The way she communicated about immigrants versus the way he communicated about immigrants. Real centrism has not been tried. We will get there. Now, I want you to understand something. I want the Democrats to be a counterweight towards accelerating fascism. Okay? I want there to be a competent fighting Democratic Party because if they are not, if they keep losing, they're going to keep letting the Republican charlatans run the goddamn show. That's what I want. I don't care about ideological purity. I don't care about not agreeing with most of the Democratic Party's platform. I don't care. I just want them to actually fight. When I say harm reduction as a strategy is unsuccessful in motivating people to go out and vote for you, I'm not just saying that because I'm cynically proposing this because I'm like some secret leftist and I want the Democrats to be Marxist, Leninist. I'm saying that because I know that it has been a demonstrable failure time and time and time again. And I want the Democrats to not lose to the Republicans every time. I want them to fight, okay? At the very least, fight. And yet, instead of running an autopsy on what took place, these guys are immediately rushing to every mainstream outlet they can go to deliver this false narrative that like they just didn't do the right kind of centrism. They didn't go far enough with the centrism. They were too woke. That's what the issue was. Look how red the country is. And it's like, no, dumb. The country is not shifting to the right on priorities or the way that they're voting. There's plenty of people who you are just leaving aside, that you have written out of the calculation because you are making a false choice. You think you can win with the suburbs. You think you can win with just like the rich white people. And you can't. Historically, that has not been the Democratic Party's bread and butter. I said this over and over again. I said that this move, this Liz Cheney hug and kiss the Republican strategy, is going to hemorrhage the base of support. The bottom is going to fall out. You're not going to have high urban turnout. You're not going to have black turnout. You're not going to have black and brown turnout, youth turnout. You're not going to have white people that normally would go out and vote for you go out and vote for you because you're not saying something to them directly. You're not addressing the issues that they're experiencing. You're just talking about civility. You're just making vague gestures towards how the system is actually fine. We just got to fix it. The economy's rebounding. The economy's rebounding. If people are feeling the pain, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you say the economy is rebounding. Yeah, if someone is making $100,000 a year, they're probably in a better position overall than many of the people that don't feel that way. And for them, institutions must be defended, sure. But for many others, it's pretty obvious. Wages have remained stagnant for far too long. And now inflation has outpaced the wage growth that people have seen. Weeks before the election, I've been arguing with my dad about how the Dems should tack left instead of right to win more votes. He would not budge. After Tuesday's results, he agreed with me that the Dems need to go more left to win in 2028. I think the liberals on the ground are starting to see this while the pundits and analysts don't. Yeah, the liberals on the ground are shaking from this experience, this defeat. But you need to understand something. They're still primed. They're still tuned into MSNBC. So all it's going to take is like 8 weeks of MSNBC coverage talking about how Liz Cheney and Kamala Harris did a fantastic job, and it was America that was far too racist to vote for her. And there is some truth to that that narrative, but you have to outcompete that. There's nothing you can do. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and advocate that like a black person can never run for the highest office. It's insane, right? But if you do, you have to overcome that hurdle with charisma. You have to overcome that hurdle with good policies. You have to overcome that hurdle by actively communicating to every single person that you see them, you hear them, you know exactly what their pain is, and you are going to do something to solve that problem that they're experiencing. If you got no answers for the housing crisis that people are living under right now, 600,000 people are sleeping outside every goddamn night. If you have no answers for that, if you have no answers for any of the issues that people are experiencing, then yeah, they're going to punish you. They're not going to vote. They're not going to vote at all. You cannot always rely on the Republican Party increasingly making the situation worse and worse and worse and worse year after year to then win an election, okay, marginally, by the way, and then tack to the center, tack to the center, tack to the center, where the ratchet effect happens every cycle. Republicans fuck shit up. Democrats fix some of it, but barely. People are still hurting. Republicans win again. Fuck it up further. Countries move to the right in the process over and over and over again.
So if the analysis and the immediate aftermath is they have to move to the center, I mean, what is the center? Because I disagree that is it, but I want to hear what is the center? Because you're not the only person, to be clear, I've heard say that. Yeah. I've heard, the Democrats been in my phone this morning.
The center are of the people I described before. I'm not even talking about an issue. We can talk about issues. The people I described before who bounce back and forth, who play between the 45-yard lines, that tends to win elections. If you look historically where it is. So That's my feeling. And we can agree to disagree.
All right. So we also have with us U.S. Special Correspondent for BBC.
Yeah, he had no answer. He had no answer for it. It's so dumb. It's just like such a stupid argument. It is one where you are slated for defeat regardless. If you say like you care about trans people, then everyone's gonna be like, oh, I guess you want everyone to be trans. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna argue with your hallucinations, okay? That's not how this works. It's the same as like gay people, okay? Shut the fuck up. There's a finite amount of people who are trans. There's a finite amount of people who are gay. And yes, when society inevitably progresses and we're more open-minded and we update the way we understand gender and yeah, the finite amount of trans people are going to be comfortable coming out and being trans. As a trans provider, I wish more guys like you were more secure in their masculinity, protect trans kids and peoples. You are legit on it. Yeah, it's just so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb to like hyper focus on this. You're a weird loser, okay? You're either a weird loser who has been primed by other weird losers that are deliberately trying to get you to hyper focus on this and be extremely invested in this because they don't want you to recognize who's actually robbing you blind.